Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. This is Devoted Heart Lauren. Today's topic for Monday Awareness Upgrade is ignorance is the root of afflictions. So, ignorance is the root of afflictions. This is inspired by the Yoga Sutra of Sri Patanjali. I have one version of it here. So, the afflictions in yoga philosophy and according to the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali are called the kleshas. Okay, so there's 5 afflictions or kleshas that can prevent us in our yogic journey or in our spiritual path. This is a little bit low. From getting to the next level, right? And there's one affliction that is considered to be the root of all afflictions, and that is ignorance. In Sanskrit, it's avidya. So the ignorance specifically that we're referring to when we talk about it in this context is misidentifying who you are. Okay, so rather than identifying with my soul or the heart or the permanent nature of who I am, I start identifying with the temporary. I start identifying with right now I feel irritated or mad or sad or anything that is constantly changing that I am taking on as part of me and thinking that that's who I am. Okay, so that's ignorance. And I think that it's closely related to something that we talk about more commonly in kind of day-to-day language, which is assumption. Making assumptions and taking on stuff that's not ours or isn't our true nature. Okay, so if you feel something and then you make meaning out of it and then you take it on as part of who you are, then that is also avidya. That is ignorance. So I'm going to chant the verse that talks about this concept from the Yoga Sutra. So in Sanskrit, it says, Anitya Shuchi Dukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatmakyati Ravidya. And the English translation is ignorance is regarding the impermanent as permanent, the impure as pure, the painful as pleasant, and the non-self as the self. So all of this misidentification of stuff as something that's permanent, okay, as something that we're making meaning out of and deciding it's true, right? We've all decided that something was true at one point or another, whether it be how the world is, how this person is, how this business is, this place, this job. Like, we've decided that something is true, even though it's based on fluctuations. It's based on the temporary nature of how the gunas are the dance of the physical, okay, the qualities of the physical world, how the gunas are moving through, are washing over everything. So again, the verse is Anitya Shuchi Dukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatmakyati Ravidya. So I'm going to chant that. But before I do, we're just going to drop in and notice for a couple minutes. So maybe bring your hands to your heart. Maybe let your eyes close if that's appropriate. And just noticing how you feel. Ignorance is the root of all affliction. So just contemplating this idea. So outside of the yogic context, what does ignorance mean? Ignorance means usually not knowing something, being blind to something. And so when you are blind to something, it's easy for it to create suffering for you or for someone else because you start to assume other things, right? I talked about assumption, making meaning out of something that you don't actually know. So someone does something or says something and you assume what they meant and you apply that meaning to them and also to you or to the world of how things are. And so from a place of not actually knowing what the intent was, what the real meaning was, you made meaning and then created suffering, created an affliction. So if we start to create some space between how you react to something and then what the actual meaning is, then we notice that there's space between thoughts or the fluctuation of the physical, the gunas, and the actual truth. And so witnessing from the perspective of your heart and creating space between thoughts and fluctuations and the truth. And just letting your heart expand so that you strengthen your ability and your capacity to come from this witness perspective rather than being in the fluctuations and identifying with them. I'm going to chant the verse for us. Welcome anyone who's tuning in live, anyone who's tuning in later. Anitya Shuchi Dukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatma Khyatiravidya. Anitya Shuchi Dukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatma Khyatiravidya. Anitya Shuchi Dukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatma Khyatiravidya. Two more. Anitya Shuchi Dukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatma Khyatiravidya. Anitya Shuchi Sukhanatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukhatma Khyatiravidya. Inhale for Om. Om. Bowing your head to your heart. And so noticing that inner light, letting that inner light guide you rather than the temporary feelings, emotions, the assumptions that you make, the meaning that you create, and so that we may be at peace. And lifting the gaze. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm still booking tuning fork, sound healing sessions. There's there might not be a link right now, but there will be a link in my profile to book. I'm also collecting names for the wait list for my Costa Rica retreat that's going to be in September. So if you want to be first to find out and to book your room and confirm, please put your email in the link in my profile. And I'm also relaunching my Live Your Yoga Transformation program. I've started to do some research calls with people to find out what schedule will work and what kind of interests you as far as applying yoga philosophy to your life and being in this kind of mentorship group coaching program with me. It's a really amazing journey. I've run it 3 times previously, and I'm excited to start it again, which will probably be April or May. So have a great week and see you soon.